Yo, what's going on, guys? Today I'm going to be going over the NBA slate on DraftKings and Yahoo for Friday, April the 19th. Another three-game slate for Friday. Like always, going to go through each position, talk about some of the guys that I like on this playoff slate. We'll work our way through the player pool. And of course, like always, I will give my 5 plays for DraftKings and 5 plays for Yahoo. These are 5 players that I do specifically like for each site. Just before we do get started, guys, I would appreciate it if you would drop a like on the video, and if you are new to the channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button down below. Would really appreciate it. Subscribe if you have not. But let's go and look at point guard today. So at the top of this position, we have Russell Westbrook, 10,200 in Game 3 of this series against Portland. Westbrook's coming off a very disappointing Game 2, where he just was not good. Only 42 DraftKings points, 14, 9, and 11. Shot 25% from the field, 5 for 20, 16% from 3, 1 for 6. It was a pretty poor performance from Westbrook. Now Oklahoma City is going back home for Game 3. I would expect a good performance here out of Westbrook. I would expect him to bounce back. But I think I do prefer Damian Lillard, especially with how Lillard is playing right now, and especially because Lillard is $1,100 cheaper. On Yahoo, Lillard is $7 cheaper than Westbrook, and I think that's enough savings for me to want to play Lillard over him. Lillard's just playing like the best ball of his career right now, just going out there and performing highly at a nightly basis, playing huge minutes, 39 minutes in Game 1, 37 minutes even in a blowout in Game 2, 46 and 54 DraftKings points. Lillard's going out there and chucking every night, 20 shots a game. He's grabbing rebounds, he's getting assists as well, he's contributing in all stats, so love Damian Lillard here at 9,100. And I like the savings you get going down from Westbrook to him. Those $1,100 savings are very important on these playoff slates because there's really not a ton of value on a nightly basis. You do kind of want to save as much as you can when it comes to your studs. So I like Lillard if I'm paying up. Obviously, on a 3-game slate, you could go to Kyrie Irving as well. He's coming off a very good Game 2 where he had like 60 DraftKings points, and I expect that does inflate his ownership a bit, coming off a really big game. But I think I would still rather play Lillard for just 200 more. Damian Lillard's my guy for Friday night. But then other point guards you could go to. Kyle Lowry's coming off a really good game in Game 2. He bounced back. I would expect Lowry to continue to play well. He's up to 6,800 though on DraftKings, which does feel like a bit more to pay than I would like. You probably want about 40 DraftKings points from Lowry to be a good play at this price tag. I think a guy like DJ Augustine, if you're going cheap, is probably the best cheaper point guard option. Him and Aaron Gordon are kind of the two guys for the Magic that are playing well right now. Vooch has really struggled in this series. Jonathan Isaac hasn't done much offensively. I think Augustine at 5,500 is a guy you could look to, but at the point guard position, I'm going to be trying to pay up as much as I can for either Westbrook or Lillard or Kyrie. Those are the guys I really want to go to. Shooting guard, moving over to shooting guard. This is definitely a position where you've got just mid-range and cheap plays. There's no studs to pay up for at shooting guard. CJ McCollum's the most expensive option. Just looking at this position, this is probably a position where I think you can find some value, whether you want to play Terrence Ross or Jaylen Brown. I think I would probably go to Terrence Ross at 5K against the Raptors. Jaylen Brown just hasn't done much offensively, just hasn't been good for fantasy, even though he's moved into the starting lineup and his minutes have gone up. He just hasn't been good. From the offensive end, playing alongside Kyrie Irving is not going to help him. Terrence Ross, on the other hand, has been a guy that's not been great in this series, just 24 and 21 DraftKings points through 2 games, just 25 and 27 minutes. But he's one of the cheaper options available at shooting guard. He's only 5K. I think the optimal play at shooting guard is try to get up to McCollum or try to get up to Bogdanovich. But if you need to save here, Terrence Ross would probably be my favorite play at 5K. I don't think there's any good punt plays really on this slate in general, and definitely not a shooting guard. So let's go ahead and move on to small forward. At small forward, I do really like paying up here for Paul George. He's only 8,700 on DraftKings, which definitely does stand out quite a bit. I do like PG today if you can pay up for him, and especially when you factor in his position, you factor in the fact that he's $1,400 cheaper than Westbrook. I think Paul George, going Lillard and George today, does make a ton of sense. But there's not a lot of good value, so it will be tough to do that. If you put in George and Lillard together, that only leaves you 5,300 remaining per player, which is pretty tough to work around on these playoff slates. So for that reason, I won't be including George in the core. I do like paying up for him, though. I would rather play him over Kawhi. Aaron Gordon is a guy that I really like here, 6,200 on DraftKings. On Yahoo, he's at power forward. He's 28. He's been like a bright spot for the Magic in this series. He's been playing very well. Like I said, Vucevic has been struggling, but Gordon continues to play well. 34 and 31 DraftKings points through 2 games, 34 and 33 minutes. The minutes are going to be there if this game is competitive. Gordon's probably going to play closer to 40 minutes, I would imagine. If this game's competitive, it was a 30-point or 29-point blowout in Game 2, and he still played 33 minutes. So I do like Aaron Gordon quite a bit here at 6,200. He's just been one of the better options available for the Magic. Vooch, like I said, really struggling. Gordon on the offensive end has picked it up a bit in this series, so I do like him at 6,200. And I also like Thaddeus Young. He's another guy that's been playing very well in this series for Indiana, for the Pacers. He's been playing very well. I like him on Yahoo, 24. I think he's a really good player over there. But looking at his game log, 32 and 35 DraftKings points through 2 games in this series, 26 and 33 minutes. A lot of the Pacers starters just in general have struggled in this series. Miles Turner's been pretty bad. Collison's been pretty bad. Wesley Matthews hasn't done anything. Bogdanovich had a pretty good game too. But through 2 games, Young has been pretty consistent, even in short minutes in Game 2, or in Game 1 where he kind of dealt with foul trouble. He still played pretty well, still contributed in all categories, which is something that Thaddeus Young can do. He can give you points, rebounds, assists. He can pick up the defensive stats as well. So I like him quite a bit at 6K. On this slate, I don't think getting 6X from every player is going to be something you need, just because limited games, limited totals. Like some of these totals are not very high. So getting like 30, 35 points from Thaddeus Young could be good enough on this slate. And I think he can definitely give you that. So I do like playing him at small forward or power forward. And then if you're looking for value plays at this position, I do like Al-Farouq Aminu again as a value. He's only 4,900 on DraftKings. On Yahoo, he's only $15. I think he's one of the better cheap value plays. There's not a ton of cheap value on Yahoo that I like, but Aminu is a guy that I like at 15. He's another guy that's been very good in this series, been playing really well, or just been consistent. 35 and 23 minutes through 2 games. I imagine the 23 minutes in Game 2 were due to blowout. If this game is close, which it should be in OKC, Aminu probably gets back to play in 34, 35 minutes. He's going to be needed defensively to stop Paul George, to stop Russell Westbrook. I do like Aminu quite a bit. I don't think he has like massive upside, but definitely a guy that can give you 25 to 30 DraftKings points, which is probably good enough when you factor in the value plays that are available on this slate. Getting 5 to 6X out of your value is probably good enough on this slate, and I think Aminu could definitely give you that at 4,900. So I do like him as a cheap play at small forward. There are other guys you could look to, Isaac and Harkless, 2 guys that do stand out, but I think I would try and find the extra salary and get up to a guy like Aminu. So moving on to power forward, and looking at this position, power forward is just kind of the same as small forward. A lot of the plays here are guys I've already talked about. Like if you can pay up for PG, you can play Thaddeus Young, you can play Aaron Gordon, you can play Aminu. All 3 guys are power forward eligible. Siakam at 7,300, I don't mind, but I think I would rather save the 1,000 plus savings go down to Gordon or Thaddeus Young. Jason Tatum at 6,100 is not the worst play, especially on Yahoo. He's a small forward, and you have to play at least one small forward. So if you can't pay up, Tatum at 25 does look like a clear option if you can't get up to PG or Kawhi. Value plays at power forward, not really a ton I want to go to besides Isaac or Harkless. Those are the 2 guys I would probably look to if you're going to go cheap at this position. So let's go ahead and quickly talk about center before we end the video. So at center, Nikola Vucevic is the most expensive option here. Very cheap, just 7,800 on DraftKings, which is the cheapest price we've seen him on Vucevic in a long time. But he has really struggled in this series. It's definitely a concern. Through 2 games, just 27 and 18 DraftKings points. The Raptors have been double teaming him a lot, and he's just not had a lot of success in this series. We've seen Aaron Gordon kind of pick up the slack, and I don't think Vooch is going to continue to be this bad. But at 7,800, he's definitely worth the flyer. You're going to need probably closer to 45, 50 DraftKings points for him to be a good play at this price tag, which obviously Vooch has the potential in him. He just hasn't shown it in this series. But I still think the upside is there. It's just hard for me to prioritize Vooch on this slate when we have Lillard, we have Paul George, other guys in just better game environments, higher totals, just more consistent options. But Vooch is in play for me if you can pay up at center, especially in tournaments. If Vooch is going to be low owned, when you factor in his price tag, I would consider paying up for him. But the guy that I really like is Enes Kanter. I'm going back to him, even though he really just did not look good in Game 2 of this series. I'm still going back to him. He's 25 on Yahoo, and on DraftKings he's 6,500. He did get hurt in Game 2, but I don't think he's like in danger of missing this game. It looks like he's going to be able to play. That's one of the reasons he only played 20 minutes in Game 2. He did get injured. He wasn't very productive either in those 20 minutes, just 11 DraftKings points. Kanter is a guy that you can expect to be productive when he's on the floor. He's going to be a guy that's under the rim to grab rebounds, he can score. If he gets back to his normal amount of minutes, 33, 34 minutes here, we could get another 45, 50-point game out of Kanter. He's just such a productive player that when he gets big minutes, he's hard to avoid, especially since DraftKings dropped his price down to 6,500. That makes him very appealing in my eyes. And like I said, if you want to pay up for Vucevic, I think he's in play, especially since his price has dropped a ton. Even though he's really struggled in this series, I don't mind getting to him because of his price. But I do like Kanter for a cheaper, $1,300 cheaper. Kanter, I think, gets back on track and gets you probably 35, 40 DraftKings points at the minimum here, especially if the minutes are going to be there. But if you're going for value center plays, I guess the one guy you could look to is Marc Gasol. He has been seeing pretty consistent minutes in this series. He didn't see a ton of minutes Game 2, but that was due to blowout, just 22 minutes. In Game 1, which was competitive, he did play 32 minutes, and I imagine in competitive games we're going to see Gasol play in about 30, 32 minutes. And he's only 5,500 on DraftKings, so as a cheaper center, if you can't find the salary to get to Kanter, I think he does make a good option for $1,000 less. But Kanter, Vucevic are probably the two guys I'm going to try and play at center if I can. But I think that is it for center, and I think that is it for the video, guys. So hopefully you did enjoy this video, and hopefully it did help you. If you enjoyed, just make sure you click that like button down below, and make sure you subscribe if you have not already. And if you do have any questions, feel free to leave them down in the comment section below, or you can hit me up on Twitter at the DFS_GOAT. But yeah, guys, thank you so much for watching. I do really appreciate it. Hopefully you enjoyed the video, and we'll see you in the next one. Good luck tonight. Peace.